So today we're getting into a little bit of trouble, or at least our featured band is. As some of the most iconic rockers in history, these guys were no strangers to controversy, that much is sure. Their frontman in particular, he lived to push the envelope. But did today's two featured tracks take things a little too far? Some think so. The first zeroed in on one particular part of the female anatomy, and it was hit with the accusations of sexism. And the other song, while lyrically less provocative, stirred up plenty of backlash when it was promoted via a naked poster. These guys defended themselves, saying it was all just in good fun. But what do you think? Was it in good fun or in bad taste for people being too serious here? Coming up, the story of a classic double-sided hit you hear every day on Classic Rock Radio. I'm Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you long for the days of 8 tracks, cassette tapes, and MTV when they actually played music videos, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the big red button. I'm telling you, we're almost to 1 million subs. And if you're watching this every day, please sub, like our content, share it. That'll help us keep the music alive and keep this going. So it's time for another edition of our series, Career Suicide. This is a show where we break down a band, a song, or an album that took a major risk. Maybe the gamble paid off, or maybe it didn't. In this show, it can really go either way. Still, whatever the outcome, it's a guaranteed great story. So today we're featuring Queen, a band that was no stranger to controversy and risk. We're going to tell the story today of the double A-side, 1-2 punch, Bicycle Race, and Fat Bottom Girls from their 7th studio album, Jazz.
To ride my bicycle, I want to ride my bike. Hang out, fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
So with the release of 1977's News of the World, Queen's career received a massive boost in America, thanks to a different double A-side combo. Of course, I'm talking about We Are the Champions and We Will Rock You. That pairing broke the top 5 of the Hot 100. It was on their way to becoming a massive band, and of course, both songs were iconic sports anthems. In fact, News of the World was Queen's biggest album to date in America. It reached number 3 on the Billboard 200, and a certified quadruple platinum there. The song would also start the double A-side success that Queen would follow thereafter on a few of their hits. I mean, you think about We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You. You can't turn on classic rock radio and hear them now without playing both. It just blew Queen up to being the biggest band on the planet, arguably right there with Pink Floyd and Zeppelin. But keeping the party going wouldn't be easy, especially since the band's own country was taxing the hell out of them. Reportedly as much as 98% on royalties, according to drummer Roger Taylor. So for the first time in their history, Queen fled the UK to record internationally. Officially, they became tax exiles. The Jazz sessions began at Mountain Studios in Montreux, Switzerland. This was in July of 1978. Later, the recording process shifted to Nice, France at Super Bear Studios. For the album, Queen reunited with former producer Roy Thomas Baker, who had worked with the band on their 4 records. The most recent being A Night at the Opera in 1975, which of course had the legendary Bohemian Rhapsody.
Just killed a man.
Now for Jazz, Roy Thomas Baker encouraged the band to chase their wilder creative impulses, both musically and thematically. And as a result, the album is, somewhat indulgent, somewhat absurd, and seriously diverse, featuring tracks that bear little or no relation to anything else in Queen's catalog, I'm telling you. Said guitarist Brian May, and I quote, "It was the first time we'd done an album away from home. The idea being that there would be no distractions, but of course there were even more distractions, just different kinds." According to Brian May, one of those distractions was Freddie Mercury's newfound fascination with the Tour de France. Freddie got so worked up about it that it became quite an obsession. And although the band were perplexed as to why, the race proved to be a source of tremendous inspiration for him. So I guess on July 19, 1978, Queen was rehearsing songs for Jazz when the famed bicycle event passed through its 18th stage in Montreux. After seeing the cyclists climb their way up through the hilly terrain, Freddie was completely smitten. As a result, he decided to write a song about the event. He decided to call it Bicycle Race.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle.
Mercury likewise suggested to Brian May that he get into the spirit of the event and compose a Tour de France song of his own, which he did, sort of. The song that Brian wrote was called Fat Bottom Girls. Lyrically, though, it would have little to do with bicycles, except for one brief line near the end. Anyway, even so, these two tracks would be inseparably connected from the very beginning.
Oh, you gonna take me home tonight?
The recording of Jazz, that was completed in October of 1978, and the album was released a month later on November 10th. The 13-track collection included 4 singles: Mustafa, Jealousy, Don't Stop Me Now, and the pairing of Bicycle Race and Fat Bottom Girls.
Jealousy, look at me now. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. My bicycle, I want to ride it where I like. Oh, down beside that red firelight.
Okay, so let's get into these two tracks. The first half of Queen's double A-side Bicycle Race, that features some unexpectedly complicated instrumentation.
Peter Pan, Frankenstein, or Superman. All I wanna do is rise.
I mean, I'm talking about unconventional chord progressions to shifts in time signature to a near 20-second long bicycle bell solo that no one knew they needed until they heard it. This track is truly unusual, to say the very least. Additionally, the guitar part for Bicycle Race was extremely difficult for Brian May to write. Said May about it, and I quote, "Freddie wrote in strange keys. Most guitar bands play in A or E and probably D and G. Most of our stuff, particularly Freddie's songs, oddball keys here. They're the last things you want to be playing on a guitar. Freddie's songs were so rich in chord structures, you always found yourself making strange shapes with your fingers. Songs like Bicycle Race have 1 billion chords in them." End of quote.
So look out for those beauties, oh yeah.
Aside from the quirky complexity of the song's musicality, Bicycle Race's lyrics also add to the song's eclectic nature. Laced with pop culture images and political and religious references, Bicycle Race name checks everything from Watergate to Vietnam, to Jaws, to John Wayne, to Star Wars, the President of America, Peter Pan, Superman, even Frankenstein. Also gives a shout out to the song's companion track, Fat Bottom Girls. However, not all the lyrics should be taken at face value. For one, according to Brian May, Freddie didn't even like riding bicycles. And more than likely, he didn't even own one. Said Brian, Freddie preferred being driven in a Rolls Royce, which Mercury also name-checked in the song. Everything but the kitchen sink here. May continued saying that Freddie created a character in the song, and this character can say whatever he wants. And he can ride his bicycle wherever he likes. By the way, those same character liberties extend to the oft-quoted line where Freddie sings, "And I don't like Star Wars." Once again, according to May, the frontman was just in character at this point. He said that Freddie actually liked Star Wars a lot. And if Brian May's words aren't enough to convince you, check out the photos from Queen's 1980 tour. There's actually several pictures out there of Freddie riding around on Darth Vader's shoulders while performing. Very cool. I had a friend who I actually gave a poster of this to some years ago. And then there was the highly controversial promotional video for Bicycle Race. If you don't already know what I'm talking about, brace yourselves for this one. On September 17th of 1978, Queen put together a bike racing event at Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium in London to promote the song, get it out there. Pedaling up to the starting line, there were 65 professional female models ready to ride the circuit on 65 rented bicycles. I mean, it sounds like a fun idea, right? However, Should also mention that every one of these girls was, except for a pair of socks and shoes, completely buck naked. The race, which, let's be honest, couldn't have been very comfortable for the participants, it was filmed and combined with concert footage of the song. No doubt this was one of the most unforgettable music videos to come out of the 70s, or really any decade for that matter. Let's continue after I mention our sponsor. I want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the glasses that I always wear on here. Right now, you can get a brand new pair of prescription eyewear glasses starting at only $6.95. Just under $7. The best part about Zenni is the fact that you can design your own look and get any type of glasses you can think of, from progressives to transition lenses to bifocals to readers. You choose. Just click on our info button right up here to get the best prices and to make your selections. You're going to love it.
Jesus, I don't wanna be a candidate for Vietnam or Watergate, 'cause all I wanna do is...
So photos of this racing event were also used to promote the album and the song. For example, the double A-side single featured a naked cyclist from the back side. And a free bicycle race poster was also included with every copy of this album. At least at first. Almost immediately, though, scandalized consumers and record stores, particularly in America, where they make a big deal about everything, they designated the images as pornographic. The poster was denounced, and it was even banned in some states. So in response, Elektra provided an order form for the poster instead. To further quell the outrage, a bikini bottom was actually drawn on the model so the single could see the light of day in the UK. And then a bra was also added to some of the US releases. So what do you think? Was it bad taste, or was it just in good fun? If you love Queen, you know it was meant to be in good fun. But tell us in the comments below. I'm sure you know Queen's answer. Like I said, to the band, it was just a bit of harmless fun. And of course, weighing in on the event, Freddie Mercury would say, and I quote, "It's cheeky, it's naughty, but not lewd. Certain stores, won't run our poster. I guess some people don't like to look at nude ladies." Now, decades later, when asked about the video, Brian May would say, and I quote, I was a different person in those days. We all were. I must say that we hadn't really thought that one through. We didn't intend it to be disrespectful to women. Finally, one more anecdote. When the producers of the bicycle race video went to return the bikes, the bike shop was not really very happy, understandably so, and they refused to take them back in their current conditions. Reportedly, all 65 bicycle seats had to be replaced before they could return these bikes. Okay, so one controversy down, just one more to go. With Queen, there's always one more to go. With Fat Bottom Girls, Brian May delivered an unexpectedly perfect companion piece to Bicycle Race, beginning with its soaring, soul-stirring a cappella introduction. I love it.
Oh, you gonna let it all hang out.
This really sets the tone for this song, and it only livens up from there. Now, in a 2008 interview, Brian said that he wrote Fat Bottom Girls with Freddie in mind, implying that the frontman had a love for both women and men with big behinds. Well, okay. On another occasion, May elaborated on the song's creation, saying, "I think the chorus just popped into my head as a tune and a set of words. And Fat Bottom Girls became a song about the girls who help the spirits of the performers backstage. I suppose the groupies, or whatever. I remember thinking, Freddie's going to have to sing this, and I'm going to have to write it so you can take it any way you like." End of quote. As if a song about a specific part of the female anatomy wasn't provocative enough, Brian May also added a verse to stir things up even more. The stanza in question supposedly recounts Mercury's first encounter with a female at a young age, during which the skinny lad becomes a bad boy thanks to his naughty nanny, who May describes as a heap big woman. Honestly, though, this verse is pretty inappropriate no matter how you look at it. It smacks of abuse, and as you can imagine, it didn't go over well back then, and it hasn't aged any better today. But this was Queen taking full advantage of their surging popularity to really push the envelope. And not surprisingly, the members of the music media called them out on it for sure. One famed review written in February of '79 by rock journalist Dave Marsh said, and I quote, "Fat Bottom Girls isn't sexist. It regards women not as sex objects, but as objects, period. The way the band regards people in general." That's what he said. And that, he also said, Queen may be the first truly fascist rock band. The whole thing makes me wonder why anyone would indulge these creeps and their polluting ideas. I like Dave Marsh, but pretty harsh there. Creeps and... Anyway, agree with his assessment or not, there was a little bit of truth to it. I mean, Queen had all the money they'd ever need and more. They had fame, they had popularity, they had adoring fans. And there was a real sense within the band, according to their own words, that they could get away with just about anything. So released on October 13th, 1978, Bicycle Race and Fat Bottom Girls reached number 11 in the UK and number 24 in the US. You know, both solid showings, especially despite the scandals. Elsewhere, the tracks went to number 10 in Ireland, number 9 in Portugal, number 7 in France and Norway, and number 5 in the Netherlands. As for Jazz, that climbed into the top 10 in 10 different countries, landing at number 6 in America and number 2 in the UK. It also certified platinum in the US within weeks of its release, and it ended up selling 2 million copies worldwide. Pretty good as well. Of the two tracks, Fat Bottom Girls has definitely had the larger pop culture footprint. It's shown up in a bunch of movies and TV shows since then. I'm talking about Freaks and Geeks, My Name is Earl, The Cleveland Show, Femme Fatales, Aquarius, The Mindy Project, Lip Sync Battle. Zoo, Ted Lasso, and Glee. Also, Fat Bottom Girls has been covered by Brandi Carlile, Kid Rock, Britney Fox, The Darkness, Fall Out Boy, and Jeff Scott Soto. There's also another infamous incident that happened with the song on the daily politics show on UK TV, and I believe it was 2014, when a respectable political editor, Nick Robinson's iPad, suddenly started to play the song midway through a panel discussion between several politicians. I guess Robinson turned it off before it got to the embarrassing start.
Hello. Is that you?
Is that you or me?
Is that me?
Okay.
So in closing, let's come back to the career suicide angle that we started with. There was definitely a lot of controversy surrounding both of these tracks, but was it enough to derail Queen? I mean, come on, you already know the answer to that one. No way. Since their initial burst of success in the 70s, the mythos surrounding Queen and Freddie Mercury has just grown to epic proportions. And as a rock and roll colossus, Queen has more or less withstood the controversy surrounding them tenfold, including the less savory parts of Bicycle Race and Fat Bottom Girls. So was Jazz career suicide? No. It actually just added to the legend that already is Queen.
You say Coke, I say Kane. You say John, I say Wayne. Hot dog, I say Cooler Man. You big woman, you done made a big man of me.
I remember the first time I saw this album cover and heard this song, my dad had the 45. I remember me and my little brother were just shocked to see a naked lady on a bicycle. We just fell on the floor laughing. I mean, we were only 8 and 6 years of age, but we couldn't believe that there was a song called Fat Bottom Girls. It was kind of the tip of the iceberg we'd find as we went further down the Queen rabbit hole, right? Hey, thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment about Queen and these two songs. What do you remember about Fat Bottom Girls and Bicycle Race? Let us know in the comments below. What did you think the first time you heard it, the first time you saw this? It was shocking to be sure. Queen always out there. Let's have a great discussion about Freddie and Brian and Queen. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe below. We'd love to have you as part of our community, as our channel. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.